Chair. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Yes, you're correct. One more night. We can do this. I've been in communication. He thinks he's got me back up and running. We're trying to make arrangements to get together so I can pass off that laptop to me. And we will be back in. Right? These lives are perfectly fine. But where I'm at, I really have a vision for this show. And I don't like the hiccups when I can't find solutions in that one moment, right? But I can't beat myself up for that. All I could do is show up fresh like a loaf of bread, adapt and conquer, carry on, right? We have to carry on. We can't let our frustrations, our hiccups, right? Our little catastrophes, our big catastrophes, those heartbreaks, the grief, right? All this stuff is coming into our lives all the time, all the time. And lots of times we have a little bit of say in how it works out. We can put some effort in. Sometimes we have those lessons that we can get back on track, but sometimes it is spilt milk, right? And we beat ourselves up for things that we cannot contribute to in the moment in its betterment, right? Or sometimes in the lack of understanding. Me personally, I had to Google, like not even an hour ago, what's been going on in Palestine, right? Like I had no idea like this was truly that significant in its happenings, and I'm shocked by it, but at the same time i'm not I'm not shocked by it, because we are there still in a great many aspects of this world that we live in that evolution, aren't we? And I think, you know, for a lot of us who wake up to some of these ideas, we take that responsibility of where we are at, in the lessons of life, in our well being and what we're contributing to that betterment of the world, right? And we're not even taking into consideration the betterment of ourselves. We get so worried about that spilt milk that we have no control over, or we can't contribute, like I said, to its betterment, or that situation getting that situation resolving itself, or right, bringing back that relationship, right, overcoming that horrid feeling of grief, right? Like, how do you just, and people do it all the time, I say, like here in Canada, if, if a part of your immediate family passes away, you get 3 days paid leave, right, from your job so that you can deal with things, and right, but 3 days, if that's your father or your sister, right, in my case, like like 3 days is not enough, right? Sometimes a whole lifetime is not enough to get over the impact of somebody you really care about passing away. And yet we do it all the time. We put those emotions and those relationships on the shelf, right? We call them memories. And we try to look back on the good memories and try to forget those bad aspects, right? And that's the optimist in us, and that's a good thing, I think, but we look at this world right now and we can say that, oh my goodness, this is the worst that it's ever been. This is going to happen, and this is going to happen, but it's because we're so close to it now, right? Right, like like say in the 40s or even in the 60s, like just think of all the things that were going on in the world with like Vietnam and the love revolution, right? The Martin Luther King and looking for equality. Like these were high voltage, very very what do you call that, easily ignitable, right? And we had to dance with that. And yet, right, we did dance with that. And I think a lot of that, being able to dance was that, right? Well, I think it was a little bit of that, right? That love revolution. We were just starting to wake up. We were just starting to move into this next stage of evolution, which I think has probably been going on. You think, well, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even happen in decades or hundreds of years, thousands of years of the active, right, process of the human being evolving. But as we're evolving, we're realizing, oh my goodness, there's so much more to this world than we ever thought. And because we're so close in this digital age, anything that happens across the ocean, right, it impacts us too in that immediate moment because we're this close now. And in this stage of our evolution, right, that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing in all truth, right? That idea that I was talking about, how we can cry over spilt milk, and maybe that's not a good analogy because we're probably kind of getting an idea of where these ideas are being born from, right? But maybe it's in that idea of seeing the differences and the different perspectives and the different ideas of different people, different families, different communities, different countries, different continents, right? And pretty soon, the way this world is going, you never know. It might be different planets, right? But that's the evolution of it. And we have to be ready for that. We have to be prepared emotionally, physically, mentally, right? But if it wasn't for this digital age, I know in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when we were settling this country. Hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I live here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, right? This country, this beautiful country that I live in, is built on diversity, in uniqueness, right? In different cultures and in different ideas. And it has to start with tolerance, right? And these figures like, Martin Luther King help to walk us through the process of tolerance, right? But then we start moving into not just tolerance, but actual equality, right? And realizing that this group matters and this group matters and this group matters and we matter and I matter and you matter, right? But there's so many different perspectives in that. Okay, here it is, you guys. Right? We're on the topic of belief this week, aren't we? We're on that topic of belief. But if you look at this word perspectives, right, and replace it with beliefs, you could, because different perspectives are different beliefs. How do we dance with that in this digital age when we're this close to all these different ideas, right? We're just not trying a food that we've never tasted before because it's never been introduced in our culture, right? And with YouTube videos and cookbooks, and this has been going on for a long time, we have been introduced and have actually picked up in our delights, right? These different traditions and these different perspectives and these, right? In how food is enjoyed, right? For me myself, there are lots of foods that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. But how do I know, just because I've never tried that before, that it might be the most delicious thing ever, right? And you have to really take in something before you dismiss it, right? Before you write it off. Different perspectives, and that could be a tricky dance. Can it? It could be some pretty fancy footwork, not to step on other people's toes. I didn't know anything about what was going on, in all truth. I am so wrapped up in my own lessons, right? And I'm not going to feel bad for that, because that's the way I've been moving, and that's the way I've been directing, and that's the way I've been following in that. And I have to trust there's a reason for that, not to get distracted, right? In that that idea that I might have something to contribute, right? Right? My heart goes out. I don't like to see people hurt. It's right, right? I don't like to see anything hurt. I don't like us to be at each other's throat and disrespecting each other, hurting each other, disrespecting each other's differences, each other's perspectives, right? But we're not quite there yet in our evolution. And yet, we're there. We're in it now. So we're floundering, trying in the moment of not understanding, right? Right? Being stuck in our own perspectives and not being open to other people's. I love perspectives, right? I have my own perspectives, 100%. I have very few of them, right? The ones that got me here, those are the ones I kept. Anything else, it can be replaced if it didn't contribute to me getting here. But what those are, well, those are my choices, and I can't allow, right, for anything else, anything to, right, force that down my throat and make me believe in something that I don't believe in, right? But I still have to respect. I don't want to be in that situation. I still don't want to disrespect people. I still don't want to step on people's toes. So, how do I go about that, right? How do we go about that, right? It's with compassion, it is with kindness for all different perspectives, right? And if we can find commonality, right, in values that maybe we could possibly all move by, wouldn't that be absolutely amazing, that all those different perspectives could come together with one understanding? And maybe that is the next step, so that, right, in that idea of equality, we don't see that understanding of equality in everything, do we? Not even not even close. So I can't beat myself up for the things that I don't understand, the things that don't catch my attention, that don't pull me in to compulse and think about it. And I think, because what we think about is realized, because of my perspectives, because of my beliefs, I think it's probably a good thing that I wasn't drawn in to, right, be absorbed in that conflict. I truly believe our next stage of evolution is going to be absolutely amazing. And it's something I think we need in creating the best human being we possibly can. We need to move. And even though this process has been going on probably for thousands of years, I think there comes that tipping point where, right, we're on that big roller coaster and we're coming to the very top. And you know, when you come to the bottom of the roller coaster, it just kind of coasts in. And I think that's the idea that maybe we're right on that tip in the next stage of evolution. And but this is my perspective, right? And that's okay, right? If you can appreciate me for what I do get right in your understandings, right? Understanding we're all different and yet we're all the same, and for lots of us we want some of the right to be able to live a life where we're safe and we're comfortable and we're able to make movement and better ourselves and be the examples for the ones who come after us, right? Our children and our grandchildren and those generations who might not ever hear of us. And if you really think about it, right? Do you know the name of your great grandfather? Right? Right? So think about it. So we're really losing track of our own epigenetic lines, and there's a lot of telltaling there. There's a lot of truth there, but there's a lot of untruths, a lot of things that people believed at one time, right? But because we move along and we evolve, right? Because in our uniqueness, right? In our own perspectives that we have, each one of us have our own perspectives, and sometimes those perspectives are born through other people's or other communities or other governments' perspectives, but they're still in us. Those thoughts are still in us, and unless we have these kind of conversations, unless we are pulled into those conversations, right? It's that idea when you're right. It's like those people who are very very passionate and they get their picket signs and right and they're very very passionate. Those are the people. Those are the ones that are uh, the battalion in that battle, right? I don't know anything. I just heard about what's going on in the world right now. Right now. And yet I can beat myself up, right? Because I can't contribute resources. I don't have a big enough voice or a big enough platform to get ideas out. And who am I to put those ideas out because I'm just popping into that content tonight, right? So I really don't get any say at all, except in my own perspective of how we can make it ours, right? How we can compulse and think, oh, right, and this is the end of the world, and right, and this relationship is over, and oh, I can't take it any, and we dig ourselves in these holes with our own compulsions that we make things realized, and I think it's probably a good thing, right? That I'm not paying attention to these things. Here's another good one. I met a lady. It was a couple of years ago. It was a Hutterite lady, one of my regular customers, over 100 years old. I think she was like 101. She had all her faculties. She was walking, carrying her own bags, right? And we started talking, like, because she got a little bit tired. She was over 100, and while all the other ladies are still shocked, because when they came in big groups, 12, 15 of them. They come in and they do their shopping. And she would wait up front with me, and we would chit chat while the rest of them were shopping and stuff. And we started talking about, the recession, the Dust Bowl, and right, the Depression, and those years. And she said, honestly, Cindy, she said, we lived right through those years, right? We heard how terrible it was going on, but in all honest truth, right, it didn't affect us in any way. It didn't affect them because they were their own community, right? They didn't compulse about it. They weren't reminded, by the price of the groceries, or the conversations on the radio, or the conversations with their friends and peers, and right, even strangers, right? That that somebody's perspective, that person with the stick, who is supposed to be compassionate about it, recruiting people, recruiting family, recruiting whoever, just to make it bigger in mass, but not bigger in the feeling, right? Because that wasn't their cause. They're just a body to support you in your cause, right? If that makes any sense. So what we think about is realize, I believe in perspectives. I believe that everybody has the right to have those perspectives, but we have to dance with those perspectives in order to get along. And right, we were saying yesterday, I really wish that we had a common, and that's the wonderful thing about mindset, right? Because mindset is for any nationality, any religion. It's just common sense. It's just proper etiquette, right? That each one of us could use in our interactions with each other. And as long as we followed those rules, we could avoid a lot of conflict, a lot of grief, right? That maybe we wouldn't have to experience those things, right? That make us think about what's going on. And when, like I said, what we think about is realized, right? I can't say that I can give this any more thought. But isn't it amazing that in this week of belief, which is the word, we got the word believe. We all believe in different things, we all do. But if you get any of this conversation, right, you probably believe a little bit in yourself, and you probably believe in a little bit in these ideas, which means, right, those perspectives of yours, right, they matter. And we have to be able to find those commonalities in each other, so that we could move together instead of butting heads or moving apart, right? And again, it's that idea that, right, we have to we have to take care of ourselves, emotionally, physically, mentally, socially, because a lot of these problems, most of these problems, are social problems, right? Social problems, how we get along with each other. But how can we learn to get along with each other when we can't even get along with ourselves? And that's, right, what I've been doing for these past well, I would have to say half a dozen. It could have been a very long time, but that I'm aware of, probably a good half a dozen years in my own evolution, right? Being at that tipping point, and that's a big drop. I don't like roller coasters. I don't. So I would like to see that tipping point kind of be more of a 45-degree angle than a 90-degree angle. You know what I mean? Because that's gonna impact hard. This, right, might make the process a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more scenic, a little bit more interesting, right? A little bit, right? A little bit less painful. 100%. And that's what these conversations are for, right? Just a different perspective, a different a different belief. And even though I haven't given these topics lots and lots, right? I am kind of stuck on some of these ideas. But is it possible that we could dance together for a little while? That you might see aspects of me and I might see aspects of you that I do appreciate. That you make one mean cannelloni, or you make amazing samosas, or right. I'm trying to think of foreign foods. I'm pretty basic, but I do try new things. I do believe it's really, really important. And our tastes change all the time. When I was a kid, right? When I was a kid, I only ate raw vegetables. If it was raw, I'd eat carrots, right? I'd eat tomatoes. I would eat raw vegetables. As an adult, though, it kind of switched around. I love cooked vegetables. And a lot of vegetables I didn't like, I love those vegetables now. Right? I have some pretty wicked experiences when it comes to carrots. That traumatized me greatly. And yet, as an adult, I've overcome, right? And actually come to appreciate and enjoy the carrots. Maybe there's a lesson in that we shouldn't hold on to things, that we should, right? We shouldn't blame uh blame our kids for something we did, or something our grandparents done, or great. Yes, we take note of that, but in truth, if we are growing and we are moving forward, right, we have changed, right? And we're not that anymore, right? And we're not quite this anymore, right? But we are moving towards that, and the sooner we can get through, right? We're going downhill now, right? Hopefully it's a nice 45-degree angle and not a 90-degree angle. But that's to each one of us in our choices, right? And I do believe that if we can, right, find some commonalities, some values, some common values that we could all live by, then we could keep our uniqueness, and we could, right, learn to stop butting heads with each other, find different ways to, right, because alphas are alphas, and alphas just are not the males. There are females that are alphas. There are countries, right? There are alpha countries, like right, there are. And just like a peacock, right? We can show those feathers. We can make ourselves look bigger. We can be the we could be the alpha. We could make everybody live and see and believe the way, or well, we can't necessarily, because this is ours. Each one of us get to believe. I just got to plug my phone in because I do this all the time. Um, we each get to believe what we want to believe, but sometimes, right, those beliefs and those perspectives, they kind of get in the way. And right, there are solutions. There are things that we can do, because it's been done before, right? It's been done before. We have gotten to tolerance, haven't we? We were moving into equality. Wow, right? And that was pretty fast. That was only the 60s. That's like 50, 60 years. How much have we changed? How much have things changed? Go back 100 years. Oh my goodness. And look at planes and electricity and, right? Things have changed so much. Okay, perspective. So I would have to say, if we could look at perspectives in a way that it becomes something we're striving for, something that we can believe that we can achieve. Like I said, right? It's been a process. We're not there. We're not there. We're not there yet, right? But if we can start talking about it, start looking for solutions, and we've always been looking for solutions, and that's the thing. That's our evolution. But can we do it, right? So that it's not so painful, not so disrespectful, not so full of grief and anger and revenge, right? My dad used to say all the time, two wrongs don't make a right. Two wrongs don't make a right. And there's something to think about right there. Okay, you guys, we got a couple of more days on this topic of belief, different perspectives, right? Different ways of thinking, and it's not necessarily a belief. I was kind of playing it as a comparison if you look at perspectives and look at beliefs, because we all look at things differently, right? We're all in different countries, we're all speaking different languages, all different religions, all different living circumstances, and it all plays in. And when it where you attach it to that digital age where we can see across the ocean, right? They got that and I got that, right? Or, oh, I got that. I'm so grateful because they got that. Oh, right? And then do that comparison, comparison game instead of just, well, again, we should be grateful for what we have no matter what that circumstances is, because we are moving, right? We are moving. You could think it's the poopiest world in the whole world and we're on the absolute brink, right? But if you look backwards, you can see there's a lot of evolution there, right? We could have been way back there with those ideas, but because we made those changes, right? That we learned tolerance, right? We're learning tolerance. Okay, we're learning tolerance, but we're sure a lot further now than we were even 50 years ago, right? 50 years ago, people were dying for these ideas. And yes, they're dying for these ideas still, but those ideas are in pockets, right? And through those conversations and looking for solutions and tossing around some of those perspectives. I love perspectives. I want as many perspectives as we can, because one of those perspectives are going to hit the button and it's going to be a solution, right? Something where we can all come together when we're all different, when we're all unique. It takes all kinds to make the world. I believe it takes all kinds to make the world, because we are all kinds, and right? And if we do this properly, we'll be able to keep that, because there's nothing worse than being same old carbon copy of the person next to us, right? There are lots of things that I am grateful about my life, but for the one thing that I am grateful is that little bit of rope that this country that I live in allows me to have, that I can sit here right now and have this conversation. Okay, you guys, that's it. Time for some din din, pajamas, couple lessons. Oh, where that was coming from, perspectives. Yeah, so I'll have to give credit to one of my online mentors, somebody I respect very much, somebody who moves along uh, with his values. Beautiful family man. I love the way he's kept his family together. I love the life that he's built. I love the lessons that he puts out to the world. And he was the one who was talking about perspectives tonight. And that's why I came in late today, because I was watching his video. Victor Otto, just a real sweet man. Somebody who really truly understands that you have to live your life, you have to build the best possible life that you can, but you have to be the example. And none of us has the answer. We all have perspectives, right? We all have perspectives, we all have beliefs, right? But to be able to allow each one of us have our own perspectives and our own beliefs, and be able to express it within our families, within our communities, within our countries, right? Within our world, and possibly in the future with other worlds, right? And if we could do that with a little bit of respect, right? A little bit of courage, we can learn. We could break through, right? Like, amazing. There are amazing people out there doing amazing work and bringing these topics to mind for each one of us to chew on and have a different perspective, a different idea, right? I didn't really bring anything except for that idea that each one of us matters, and each one of us has the right to have a different belief and a different perspective. But I think at the same time, we have a responsibility to the person beside us, right? Who also has perspectives and beliefs, right? And in order for us to get along, we have to have commonalities. And I do believe that solution is, well, I guess I did bring that, right? Is the common sense values. They could be very, very simple, right? No lying, no cheating, no stealing. That would be enough, right? But you say, well, the people are killing people. Yeah, but you can't steal. You can't steal anybody's life, right? You can't steal anybody else's opportunity to be able to move themselves forward, right? To grow in their own evolution and to contribute to the evolution of, right, themselves, their families, their communities, their countries, right, their world. I have to give that one some thought. I'll be back in to watch my live. And Melvin's here. Of course, Melvin's here. Thank you so much, Melvin, for popping in and keeping me company. I saw you there, but I was kind of in that flow of what I was trying to get across. So this live brought to you by Victor Otto, because he planted that little seed in me. I like even in his ideas, I put notes, right? Perspectives, learning to appreciate that everyone has something to contribute, right? We clog the world's arteries by not uniting in our uniqueness. I believe in majority, right? Working towards being, I even wrote that, working towards being the majority. Even a minority, right? Each one of us is different. Each one of us is unique. Each one of us has different perspectives and different beliefs, right? But wouldn't it be amazing if the uniques could come together to be the majority? And who are the uniques? Well, that would be you, because, right, I believe it takes all kinds to make the world. All kinds to make the world. And if I believe that, well, we can find a way that we can find a commonality with each other, right? And unite in that, wow, maybe that could be majority. And maybe that might be enough. That's my good cheer. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hi, Nancy. Bye-bye.